Hey guys, welcome to my my cactus live stream. Cactus care, sowing out, but also vegetables. I brought a few this time. Also slightly edited the title to add cactus seeds, vegetables, sowing out, that kind of stuff. I want to have a very broad direction with the stream. We will do whatever is fun, you know. So I brought a lot of different things, seedlings that we have sown out in the last 2.5 months, maybe. A lot of cactus seedlings that are already out of the bag. That means they are a little older and can already take the normal humidity of a room temperature under a plant lamp. But also some that are a little smaller that need a little bit more care, and they need to be a lot, like they need a lot of water today. I've watered yesterday, but they're losing more water than I give. So I reduced the temperature a little bit. Hey mate, welcome to the stream. Great to have you. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I brought a lot of stuff again. Seedlings, and they need more water. Apart from that, I brought the chili. I had repotted the chili, and I wanted to show you guys how they turned out. And I brought a lot of containers where we just have to look at the humidity again. But I think we have it right in most of them. I put a lamp above them to induce a little bit additional germination, and that always leads to a lot of water disappearing. So I want to open them up again today, just to be sure, because if these fail, they will go to the trash. Like the soil will be reused outside, but apart from that, that's it. You know, I will not continue trying to induce germination after a second time. You can, in very rare cases, when it's a really good plant, you can do it, but I recommend not wasting excessive time for seeds that might not be worth that. You can only judge about that yourself. You have to look at the label and decide if it's something that you really, really want to see or not. So yeah, let's get started. Mostly watering in the beginning. These are all dry overnight again. Last sprayed yesterday evening. And they are growing. You see, when they are being watered, when they get enough water, that they are not forced to dehydrate a little, then they are growing pretty fast. Have a look. They also gotten their first fertilizer, and you can also see that in the body. They are really, you can really see when the cactus seedlings have get that little boost and grow just half a centimeter in overnight. That can happen. Really depends on how much potential they had before. You know, when you have a seedling that would actually be much bigger, but it hasn't gotten enough nutrients, then you grow them a little bit harder. And that leads to later, when they suddenly get a lot of water and fertilizer, they can grow pretty fast. Okay, yeah, this one the same. Looking great, actually. I'm happy with these, but they need water. I will be spraying everything that is out of the bag, and I brought some in the bag also. Always happy to take questions, and if not, I will just go through here, discuss everything. These are okay. The fertilizer will hopefully help a little with the discoloration. Might also be genetic, you know, like it's sometimes hard to tell. Let me check out the label, because this looks interesting. Yeah, nice. It's just a number. I hate when I do that, but sometimes the labels are just too long. But yeah, I will look it up later. Let me see. 114 of 2024. I will look them up. This looks interesting in regards to the body. Yeah, I want to water them, spray them. Yesterday it was 3 or 4 times again. But when the when they are under a lamp, you have a lot of condensation, a lot of just from the sunlight. These also seedlings look okay, but they are very small. They need to get regular watering and fertilizer in order to grow through that kind of difficult age. They are a little bit too small. If I would have had a better choice, I would have taken them out of the bag a little later. I always try to find the right time to take everything out, and when that will be depends on how they grow, or if I have problems that just require me to get active. This is a size where I really feel like they can do it. They are big enough to thrive if being watered. That is always the big if, because they need water now. So these here also a little bit dehydrated, need water again now. Soil is bone dry overnight sometimes, and that can make it hard for people to realize that the plants are doing poorly, that because they are dehydrating despite being watered often. Sometimes people underestimate how much water little seedlings need. And when they continue to get smaller and smaller, it often looks like a fungal infection. But what's actually happening is that they just dehydrate until something sits on top of that. These here looking okay. Fertilizer needed. Might be genetically caused also here. A lot of monstrous seedlings in these crosses. And with these type of hybrids, I always expect the possibility that something is variegated, unusual, happens very often. Okay, so the next ones, these here, these don't look so good. I saw that here's a large group of seedlings that have come loose to one such ball. I think we're doing something here. So I'm watering this, and we are singling them out maybe a little bit. Let me see if I have a container. I brought soil. I have a little bit of sowing soil below the table. Let me see. I will move it around. Okay. I just need a little bit, a second container to spread these out a little bit, because once they kind of are so crowded that they form a round ball, that is not good. That often is hard to control. You will have a hard time treating them all equally. I want to first water the soil before I put them there. Otherwise, the soil kind of sticks to the seedling like flour, and that makes everything so much harder. So yeah, these little cactus seedlings, I would just carefully, I try to rip this whole block of seedlings apart, just singling them out a little. Doesn't really matter that they are separate, completely separate. In my opinion, it actually is a little bit better to keep them in small groups, but at the very least, take them apart a little bit. So yeah, let me see. I don't want to put them all in the same pots. I want to spread it out, so I will see how many I will put into each. Yeah, a few more. Okay, this is enough. Let's take this thing into two. All right. This is probably by Uwe Kahle, hybrid seeds by Uwe Kahle, most likely. No, it's Lobivia winteriana, Lobivia seeds. They didn't look like Lobivia seedlings in the beginning. That's interesting. A lot of the Lobivia that I have, Lobivia winteriana, I use it widely for unusual hybrid crosses, sometimes with columnar trichocerois. and everything that could produce an interesting flower. So maybe these seedlings looking a little bit different might be a good sign. Here's a large pebble that I want to take out of here for now. Pebbles, stones, little rocks, not really helpful. Often they when they start growing into that thing, then you have a hard time separating the root again. Spraying again a little because so much water has already evaporated. And this needs to be corrected later. At this point, we might also already be able to pot them in washed pumice. But I try to wait a little bit longer with that. With moving into that very fast draining soil, in that very fast draining mineral soil. I use that sometimes for seedlings, but usually not when they are this small. Okay. And this needs to be sprayed a few times to just get the soil right. The soil will settle a little bit. And here on the other side, let me see if I have another pot. Maybe we can take them out of this thing completely because there's not enough soil in it. Here's another one. Okay, we will pot these into new one too because I already didn't like that these were a little bit too deep. So I'm getting another one here, and I press the soil firmly because I wanna really have compressed soil in this thing. I'm not really a fan of having completely loose soil. I see all those recommendations about roots having it easier to grow into, like the medium. Yeah, maybe, but these plants they root in rocks. These kind of cacti, they can take a little compressed soil also when young. And it adds stability. That is the reason why I do it. It just adds a little stability where when you have everything loose, the whole soil will sink in a little over time. And in the beginning, that can really disturb the seedlings. Sometimes they sink in like they sink in now. And this needs to be corrected long term. I need to reposition the seedlings here a few times. Within the next couple of weeks, we will have them again and correct positions. Make sure that the little root has connection to the soil. Otherwise, you would lose unnecessarily many seedlings. Okay, so this is the new one now. Not a bad idea to sometimes change the soil. That is something that Reinhard Liske once said to me, that he very often repots very tiny seedlings, and the more often he does it, the higher the chance is that the seedlings will actually survive long term. And the man has grown so many different cacti, so I respect that, you know. Okay, yeah, slowly trying to. Here's a big piece of something. I don't know. I hope it's not poo, like cow poo, but I don't think in sowing soil. So let's fill up a little again, because now I have a hole there that I don't like. Okay, and I also need to water that again. Spray everything so I can work. So everything stays, so I have visibility enough to work there. Okay. And yeah, Lubivia winteriana seedlings, we will see how these will come out. Right now they already look like hybrid seedlings, and that is a good sign for me. Sometimes when you have a hybrid cross like with Lobivia, the offspring just looks like the Lobivia. And in this case, I feel like this could look a little different. And I welcome that, like that unusual kind of hybrid that that isn't often done. Because at some point you will run out of boring kind of crosses that you make. Sometimes when you have the chance to make these hybrid crosses, then you really want to make it stick. Hey, we are growing cactus seedlings here. This is a cactus stream, cactus care. We have sown out little cactus seedlings on the stream over the last 2.5 months maybe. And yeah, these are just transplanted. No, these are cactus seedlings, you know. And they are different sizes. We have grown quite a lot of them, all different. Some kind of Sorensia, Echinopsis, all kind of Lobivia, you know. Interesting kind of cacti with interesting flowers. And I recommend it. It's a beautiful hobby. Nothing. This isn't a this is a very family-friendly kind of stream. I'm sorry to disappoint. But yeah, these have beautiful flowers. Check out the videos. Maybe you like it. I'm sure you will enjoy it. These kind of immense-looking big flowers, very beautiful in all colors. It's a nice hobby that I recommend everyone who just suddenly stumbles upon the channel. Check out the videos, like the short videos. Some very beautiful flowers. Okay, so let me continue here. These seedlings here I have spread out over 2 containers. This was just not doing well the way it was. Too many seedlings also. And I wanted to spread everything out a little bit. These are Lobivia winteriana, a Peruvian Lobivia species. Actually can deal with a fair amount of humidity, so not surprising with Peru, but cold sensitive. I have lost some of these plants in winter, and that is ironic, you know, considering the name winteriana. But yeah, so I will spray them again now, split them up over 2 containers. I need another tag now for the second container, that I don't lose track of what is what. And apart from that, yeah, then we're moving on to the next. Not sure where my pencil is again. I always lose it when I'm doing stuff here because I need it. It's quite essential actually. I will write it with a text marker, but these are actually worse. I don't really like to use them because they dissolve under all kinds of pesticides, fertilizer. But for short time it will be all right. I will find my pencil again. It's really important. Okay. So these will stay out. I will not put them into humidity again. Just keeping them like this, and I will spray them a few times a day. And yeah, apart from that, I will go through the seedlings again now, discussing a few more. So these here also a little bit too deep, need water, need to be sprayed. But apart from that, they are growing. They should be sprayed a little bit more often. Considering they've been sprayed like thrice a day, that's a lot of water that they need. And that shows why it sometimes can make sense to leave them in the bag a little longer. Everything that you do not have to water is saves you some time. These here, totally variegated, also discolorated a little bit more than the others due to the lamp. With variegated seedlings, they always they can be much more sensitive to sun stress, even sun stress, not even sunburn, sun stress. And yeah, these here, look at very interesting looking seedlings. Some of them completely different types of body, you know, like different mutations happening there. So let's spray these. Also, everything that I have here that is out of the bag, it needs to be sprayed all the time. And in between, I also spray them. Water is just very essential. Absolutely the main thing that that a lot of people do not do, that often is misunderstood, because seedlings, sometimes it can be hard to see when you're watering too much, like whether you're watering too much or not enough. And seedlings sometimes, no matter which direction you go, they will look bad either way. So, and that makes it kind of hard. So in most cases, if in doubt, I would rather spray them once more. Like if the soil is dry, you can spray them. It's really more a matter of not leaving them in a soil that is a swamp over multiple weeks. And that is because that leads to root rot, and it promotes all kinds of bad things that compete with the seedlings. It brings back pests that can't really get their foot in the door when the soil is dry all the time, because they need that little bit of humidity to replicate, you know, to stay a long-term problem. Okay, they are dry, very. You can see when the soil is dry like that, it becomes a little bit harder to work with. So I would spray them again, and these need to be sprayed again maybe in an hour, because once the soil is like that, it takes a little longer to regain some sort of a flexibility. And yeah, so we will have to deal with that. These too deep. I really don't like that. It takes away visibility. You don't see the seedlings that are way like below the top ones that you still see. So in the most recent containers where we've sown out, I took greater care to not sow so deep. It wasn't so deep, but you always have that sinking of the soil, and that if you already left too much space, then that will only get worse later on. So these here also okay, 2.5 months maybe. Need more water. They could be bigger. If these had been getting even more water, they could have twice the size. You can do this in many different ways, you know. You can push them. You can push them a little harder, spray them more often, give them more fertilizer, but that will also result in the every odd fungal infection here and there. So these also need water, and very, very soon these need to be split out over multiple containers, at least 3, I think. Okay, next one. This one here needs water. And I also need to transplant a few seedlings there, like just repositioning them. Because there's a seedling that is lying there and it has roots. It just fell over. Sometimes when the soil dries out, it rips apart, it tears apart. And that can also be a problem. Seedlings will fall over then, because they have lost that pebble that they were on. Okay, so these, apart from that, they look okay-ish. 1 or 2 variegated or might not make it, but we don't need so many of each type. You know, we have so many different ones that, and I rather have that more, like a little bit more diversity among the different types of cacti that we grow here. Okay, so these also need water. They have been transplanted just recently, and for that they are looking good. Discoloration, so fertilizer hasn't really taken effect yet, but they got some. These will, over time, either they will get green again, greenish, or they will stay like that, and then it's probably a genetic variegation. It's on the table with all of these hybrids. Most of the type of hybrid crosses that I do has the potential to bring out mutations in all kinds of ways, good and bad. You know, when you have a sickly looking container, sometimes, you know, you might save yourself the hassle of continuing that painful thing. Okay. Now I have some in the bag. I just want to dry everything here a little bit because I completely flooded my desk. It's kind of hard to have a clean desk and do a cactus show, like a cactus stream. So on a regular basis, I have to clean here every day, actually. And today it really is really necessary. So, okay, I will open the containers. Like, these are in bags still. Some of them younger, planted maybe a couple weeks ago, 10, 14 days ago, and some others older. Sometimes I leave them in the bag for 3 months, 4 months, maybe, if things go well. But if things don't go well, I take them out. Just because that drying out helps to get rid of a lot of problems. But if I can keep them in, then sometimes I do as long as I can. So let's see. These just very young. These couldn't be taken out of the bag for one day. These are just first stage of cactus seedlings. You just sprinkle the seeds on top of the soil, and this is what you get within maybe 10 days. Whether they will be healthy, that remains to be seen. Probably not. These already look variegated. If you look closely, at least some of them are variegated. It's not, for me, it's not a criterion to completely disregard them. But my hope is that they eventually manage to produce chlorophyll, you know? And that often doesn't happen. Sometimes it does, but very often you end up with the same kind of weakish kind of growth, sometimes not even growth. So you really need to think carefully if you want to keep those kind of hybrids, those kind of seedlings. It doesn't only happen with hybrids. It happens with botanical ones too. Poor genetic health, overaged seeds, you have that very often. Okay, and this is a very bad closing mechanism when it's covered with dirt. These can't work anymore, don't work anymore. Okay, these look good. I like that. You see, they are looking different than the ones that are outside. This is how they would look if everything goes smoothly and they're just in a closed container, without ever being hardened up. But hardening up is also an important thing to do. A lot of people, they don't harden up, and later on, you know, when that plant goes with another breeder, sometimes these plants get lost. You know, they just aren't so resistant to fungal infections, heat stress, cold. Sometimes it's also the cold, but not always. You know, there are some plants among them that have completely different cold resistance from container to container, but still, whether or not they can reach their full potential also means that they sometimes might have the potential to make it through certain winter temperature, but when they are not really super healthy, they might not be able to in that year. So yeah, and you might lose them. So these here, color-wise, I would love to fertilize them very soon. You can already see that the discoloration, this could be nutrient. So these are on the plan to be fertilized. I consider taking them out of the bag, you know. But since they look so good, I'm honestly not sure. Honestly not sure. Because we could do both. We could leave them in a little longer as long as there's no problem with humidity, no fungal infection, no fungus gnat, then nothing speaks against keeping them in longer. It's just the moment you take them out, you got to be a little bit more careful to adjust them slowly by watering, spraying very often in the beginning, or maybe opening the bag slowly and then removing it a week later. Just gradually hardening them up. Like hardening up is a big phrase, and that can mean so many different things. It's not just one. They suddenly don't get the perfect conditions anymore, and can be good and can be bad. Some plants, they react very good to that. They instantly appreciate that. They also get to dry out sporadically, but not always. Okay, so these I take out of the bag now. There are too many in one container, and the more you have there, the higher the risk that this will lead to just where the seedling presses against the walls of the square pot, and then the skin breaks and causes an infection in humidity. So that's why I'm taking them out. These need to be singled out. It doesn't have to be today, but within the next couple of months or so, this should be solved, that problem. And I have a lot that are like that, so we will see what we do with them. Okay. Here's Teleflora. There are germinations, and this was just removed from the heater. I had them at the heater, trying to get the seeds to germinate, and yeah, you can see that the seedlings are already looking tiny, reddish, and this is just not healthy. This is not normal seedling growth at that size. I assume we have to expect to lose some of them. And yeah, if you look at the genetic health that you see there, might not be the worst thing to happen, you know. We will see. One of the seedlings looks like it might have potential to grow a little green. Maybe it is able to survive on the roots. We will see. I always talk about that. I don't want to say it in every stream. It's just that for me, that is an important standard, that a cactus can survive on own roots and does not have to be grafted. It doesn't mean that it's the only way to see this. I understand a lot of people love grafting, and they graft everything. I understand that, and I respect it from just from a art point of view, like skill point of view. I know it's an interesting skill to do, and I understand that it's fun. But some plants are just genetically weak, and I always try to remind of that. Nothing else, you know. If people wanna graft these completely white albino seedlings, okay, I have nothing against it. I don't have to grow them. I just try to not have all these unnecessary grafts here. And when something happens, it needs to be grafted right away, or that thing is gone. And I don't like that idea. So here, this is Teleflora also. Same hybrid, same mother, but different father. I made 7 different crosses last year, 7 or 8, and this is one of them. I'm already happy if we get a few seedlings in each of them. And that is unlikely looking at that one that we looked at before. This here looks a little bit better. I definitely see potential here to have them, maybe one big plant one day, that can stand, you know, that can represent the outcome of this cross, but most of them might also be troubled in the next couple months. Slow growth, maybe variegation to a point where they don't survive. That is just the norm. If you have a seedling that is variegated in nature, it would not make it. And I'm not saying I'm growing like in nature, but that is one of the things where I feel like that might be something good, you know. But every now and then it pays off to to fight for every little seedling. And unfortunately, you never really know when's that time, you know. I give them a chance, but I don't overdo it. Like when I see that something's variegated, I'm leaving it for as long as it continues to grow. If it at some point doesn't make it, then that's okay. I will not graft it. So these, yeah, look okay. Chaotic in the pot. I don't know what went on there. My theory is that also they've been a little bit washed aside from the sprayer. One seedling is lying there. I hate to see that. That is, for me, one of the big signs of fungus gnat. Has been in the last months consistently. So let's have a look at the seedling, a little bit closer look. Here's the root, and that soil is still there. The fact that the soil is still there probably means that the root is still there. So this could mean that this just fell over due to the, you see that pebble root there, like that soil pebble. That is just, sometimes they get them out of balance. So I try to reposition that carefully because this looks like a very sensitive kind of root already, weak looking seedling. And I consider taking them out now, just in case that this wasn't related to just falling over, because every time you have seedlings that are losing stability, it should be on in the head that fungus gnat might have played a role. They are a little too small. If I could choose, I would leave them in longer. And I could leave them in longer, but I feel like something about them, the way they look, the way the soil looks, I just have seen so many situations, so many scenarios where the outcome was negative. I feel like I look at them and I feel we need to take them out. And that's what I will do now. So these need water a lot. These need to be sprayed often. They will hopefully react very, very well to the fertilizer. Like I said, when it's the first time that they're fertilized, then sometimes they grow substantially within just a day or two. And maybe that will be the case there. But it's dangerous to take them out a little bit too early. I know cactus breeders, and really good ones, that leave them sealed in bags in mineral for months, for many more months than I do. And sometimes it works. I'm not sure, I'm not there checking on the stuff that doesn't work with them. I personally just say that when you're sowing out in minerals, it can backfire very fast once you have to take them out. The moment you take that out, you have it's ultra fast draining medium, and you will be spraying all the time. You see, this is in a humidity bag, and it already looks dry. Apart from that, seedlings look good. I'm happy, but they need fertilizer. I need to really put these aside to fertilize them in the container, because the pumice, if you are using a mineral medium, they don't come fertilized. It's just usually when you get pumice, that stuff has a pH level of, I think, 5.5 to 6.5, somewhere in between that. So it's great in regards to the pH, but it doesn't really have nutrients in them. So you have to give that right away. First 2-3 weeks when they germinate, they still have something like that energy saved up in the seed. But now these should be fertilized. So I need to put these aside. I usually don't fertilize when they are still in the bag, at least not right now. I might have done that earlier, and it's always a dirty kind of job. You have to open them, spray in there, then you have fertilizer everywhere. When you close that thing again, and you are fueling the weeds, you are fueling the pests, you're fueling everything that the cactus seedlings compete with too. So yeah, I wait with that until the conditions are a little bit more favorable for the cactus seedlings, and not the moss, and not this kind of weird micro cabbage that's growing down there. Let's take that out. I'm not sure what it is. Lesion is a name that I sometimes have in mind when I look at this. Check it out. Someone knows what it is, let me know. It's just a weed that happens so often, and it's not really doing much. But since I recently noticed it in combination with a lot of algae on the soil, I started to remove them a little bit more, little bit harsher. Yeah, the soil is too dry. I just felt that when I took out the vegetable. But apart from that, you wouldn't think that when you look at the soil. If you just look at the soil without feeling that how dry it is, I wouldn't have known. So these will be sprayed a little, despite the fact that they're in the container. Just a little bit more. Not too much, because the more you water, the more it takes away the oxygen. There's not a lot of oxygen in a bag, and the more water you have in there, the more it displaces the oxygen. Hey, welcome to the stream. Great to have you. Thank you. Yeah, we're going through the seedlings here. Some look great. Some are dehydrating a little. But apart from that, I'm happy with it. Happy with the outcome right now. I'm happy that we are doing sowing out so well right now. I've been getting back to comments this morning, a few here and there, and yeah, people they just appreciate that kind of stuff. Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but also work. They really need to be sprayed often. I think if I wouldn't do this on the channel, I might be slacking off a little. I might be getting more behind. I'm spraying them thrice a day, and it's still not enough sometimes. So these are very young, tiny baby cacti from maybe a couple of weeks ago. Sown in sowing soil already, new soil, no fungus gnats so far. It's a little early. They would take a little longer, but it's definitely not bad that we're not seeing any right now. Apart from that, yeah, these are tiny. They need to be. I need to leave them undisturbed and close up again. Humidity looks okay-ish, not perfect, but I don't want to spray them because they are so tiny. Because the roots are like little tiny fibers. When you look at them, you can see it. You know, if you look very closely, you can see that tiny root that they form, and it's so vulnerable, so tiny. Okay, so these are Teleflora again. We've been talking about these repeatedly, and I can just say that these look much better than most of the others. This is one of the hybrid crosses where seedlings are green, at least, and they grow. They grow healthily, but some of them are tiny. We have already, in this container, the ones that were fully variegated, they are already gone. There might have been 3 or 4 that we could have grafted as seedlings, but I rather use the space for something that is really healthy from that cross. I'm really trying to improve the genetic situation of Teleflora. And that hybrid that I've shown this week on social media again, of my own hybrid cross between Teleflora and Sörensia Schaffery yellow. That hybrid looks very good. It looks like it might be a little improvement of Teleflora. It's not perfect, as I heard that it doesn't have a lot of pollen, at least not yet in the first one. But flower's big, it's better. I like the flower better. We'll see if it can grow seeds. That would determine also how healthy it is. We will see, but the goal is to actually grow something with Teleflora that is healthy, that is not when you're sowing seeds out when they are tiny and need help. Okay, so here I transplanted a few for now it's okay. But these have already not looked good in the previous medium, so that's why they were transplanted. Hey, thank you. Great to have you. Always happy to do my stream every day. It's like it has become my mission in life to just, I don't know, to see where it leads me. Feels like I'm on a new road. Like when you're setting sail into an unclear direction. That's how I feel right now, but positive. Okay, so these also transplanted into the sowing soil. This came from a bad soil into a good soil. Apart from that, they're still too small to be taken out. Way too small. The two small ones here might not make it. But I will give it a chance, but they look like fully variegated seedlings, and that is why they are behind. Why they are smaller than the others. At some point, I will show how to graft them. We will graft them and show how it is when you keep them around, and it will look impressive. Like these variegated seedlings or full albino seedlings, they often look amazing. But yeah, they are just harder to grow, and not in the sense that it's difficult. It just creates unnecessary work. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. I feel very strongly about what I'm doing right now. That what I'm doing is the right thing, the right way. I feel like we can build something here. This can be great in summer. This is just what a cactus breeder does in winter. We haven't really started from streaming outside. This could be really good. So who knows? Maybe they're showing a really good positive hobby on social media, trending and that kind of stuff. You know, I feel like they could do that for every once in a while. So yeah, these here, a lot of variegation, and you can really see that it's variegation because the two green seedlings left and right. And apart from that, it remains to be seen what will happen with these. These could all be days are numbered, you know, for them. Could very well be in the beginning when you have those fully variegated seedlings. They have a month or two where you can keep them alive in that thing. But at that point, you would see the difference between the ones that can produce a little chlorophyll and the ones that can produce no chlorophyll. Let's see what this is. This is a hybrid cross between a columnar hybrid, which was already the result of like making a cross with grandiflora and something else. So very troubled genetics. Little distant. And yes, now I wanted to show you the chili that we have grown. Check this out. These are the chili plants that I have recently sown out. I don't want to spend a lot of time with them. I just wanted to bring them on the stream to show them. Got to show the little, you know, the little success that we have here. I have never grown chili before. Like, I've had them as a plant, but I don't think I've sown them out, at least not successfully. So we will grow these here now on the stream. Every now and then I will bring the plant in, and we'll see how that goes. It's not the right time now, I heard, but I'm growing them inside just because it's an interesting plant to watch, and I wanted to show them. I've been spraying them also a few times a day, and they have done very well with the change between being in a bag and being taken out. Had no problem adjusting them, just took them out of the bag, and then they were continuing to grow. Dehydration is what I'm currently always having to worry about with them, making sure I don't forget them, spraying them on a regular. But apart from that, these are looking good, and I'm always happy as a former seed seller when I buy seeds that are viable. I don't take that for granted. You know, I know how the seed business works, and I'm always happy when I buy seeds that are actually not trash. That's always good. Okay, so let's continue. I'm correcting humidity. These have been like at the heater and under a lamp where I have positioned a little LED panel, LED plant grow lamp above them, just to give those like a little bit of the full spectrum UV light for the seeds that are lying there that have failed to come up. Also, the lamp kind of facilitates a nice temperature. It keeps the temperature where I need it. So these they got heat from the side and light from above. And that combination usually helps them to come up, even if it's a little bit older seeds. But there's limits, and there's also a limit in regards to genetic health. Sometimes seeds are just unhealthy because the parents didn't fit together. Can always happen, you know, like the weak seedlings that we see sometimes here, Teleflora, Hildewinter. It can also happen that they don't even come up, that they fail completely. It shouldn't be, but 10-15% you can have that, and maybe a little bit high, but it depends on what kind of a hybrid cross you are trying to make. You know, like if you are how high you are aiming. Like do you make the crosses that have proven to work, or do you make the crosses that maybe nobody ever made, or maybe that have often failed for other people? With these kind of hybrid crosses, you have a much higher risk for that one doesn't come through, like not at all. Okay, so here humidity is okay. It feels wet. There was like something rolling around, but I really feel like this is just unviable seeds. Let me see what it is. Okay, this is actually this I do not understand, because these I've sown them out in another container and had perfectly viable seeds. It might be that it was from a different fruit. That could be, because if this is the same fruit than the other, then they should actually have been viable. A little bit more water, but not really needed. But I want to put these at the heater to maybe tickle that life out of them, push them a little, wake them up like Frankenstein, you know. We would see. I want to definitely give them a sign that it's time to wake up if they are in there. Okay, this one, these are old seeds, at least 10 years old. Nothing come up within, this is the second attempt, doesn't look good. These will go within the next couple of weeks. If nothing shows, these will go to the trash. And so we can use that space for something that actually wants to live, you know? Sometimes it can make sense to try germinating old seeds. And when you do that, I recommend you get like 20-30 containers and you sow out the same strain. Try to, with different approach sometimes, but also if you only know one way, do that, and just try to invest a lot of space to maybe get 1 or 2 seedlings. If it's really, really good stuff, rare seeds, rare species that are no longer around, that kind of stuff, where you really want to make sure that you don't have that one seed that somewhere comes up, because it can always happen. I've seen seedlings come up in completely old seeds from wholesale, you know, like sometimes you get those huge amounts of unviable seeds, and even in those you can sometimes be lucky. Okay, so this one here I filled up a little water. Lobivia hybrid doesn't look good, to be honest, that they haven't come up yet. Doesn't really make me convinced of their viability. Have immense doubt with these. Everything looks right, you know. I mean, they should have come up by now. Okay, so here, this is second germination attempt, and here's that one seedling that I spoke about. Sometimes you get them. If it will live, hard to tell. In this case, probably not. I will try, but this is already tiny. It's tiny. It's looking white. Also a sign of bad seed, unviable seeds. Sometimes it's the washing. Sometimes it some people leave the fruit on the plants for very long, and that kind of storage in the fruit can sometimes make them become unviable very fast. Sometimes it's temperatures, too high temperatures. At some point, the seeds will lose their viability. And we've had a few very high, like record-breaking summers with immense heat. Safe way to keep the seeds viable is by freezing them, but it needs to be right. It needs to be done like a seed bank you would do it, completely dry. And there are different ways to do it, but it needs to be done good, like in a good way. So here, there's a seedling on the upper left there, but also very whitish. These are already the containers where a second attempt was done. Second germination cycle after the first one failed completely. I see a fungus gnat. Welcome to the fungus gnat channel, everyone. I see a fungus gnat again. It's flying here. It might have come out of this bag. And since this is the old soil, that would make a lot of sense. I haven't seen it with the sowing soil, but everything that was planted in the old soil had a little problem. Okay, so this one, absolutely terrible water management. Something must have happened here. There's no water in there. I'm not sure why, honestly. Probably because the label, like the bag, didn't close fully. Because this kind of water loss is not normal. At that point, you might have to have a hole in the bag, or maybe not fully closed. So I will try to fill this up. Gotta be careful not to overdo it when it's dry like this, but this was really bad. This shouldn't have been so dry. And with such a soil humidity, nothing can come up. Okay. It's pooling a little in the corner there, but it's okay. It might still soak into the medium some more. You always lose a little water, especially. We will see if that thing is dry again. Then maybe the bag is done. Okay. This one here. This is so sad because this is a really good hybrid. These are seeds of Leuchtfeuer, a hybrid by Rolf Autenried. A really good one. I like that one. It has Lobivia crassicaulis in it. Sorensia crassicaulis probably. And yeah, that kind of plant. It can be useful for interesting combinations with Lobivia, and this is one of them. Like where the combination of Sorensia crassicaulis and Lobivia winteriana, for example, has brought out an amazing combination. They often have these multicolored flowers that have yellow or orange and reddish kind of overtones in them. A very good kind of hybrid, and the fruit looked great. I watched the fruit grow over months, left it on a little longer, and now seeing that there's absolutely not one seedling in it. And it's not only one. It's in every container we have planted it. It's really disappointing. But you have that. You always have that, depending on what kind of a fodder you have used there. And in my opinion, in my case, I'm not sure again what I used, but I think it was something like Pink Stripes. And when, like I said, when you aim high, you can sometimes also completely fail. And that is okay. That is just next time we will use something else. We will find something that will produce that healthy offspring. Here's a seedling. It isn't visible because it's like tiny. It's just a dot there. Apart from that, nothing. Also not looking good, not making me really proud as a cactus breeder. Oh, it's the same seeds. This is Leuchtfeuer. This is the same one. So seeing that one seedling is actually positive. Who thought that? Apart from that, yeah, this is just bad. Such a shame. Okay, I filled up a little water. I will close it up again. If that seedling has a chance, I want to give it to it. One seedling can be enough. One seedling can be all it takes to have that amazing thing. But for now, I wouldn't bet on it. The way that seedling looks, it strikes me like it's playing a part in a John Carpenter movie. So here, no germination. Soil looks okay-ish. A little humidity is in it, but not enough. I will put in a little bit more, especially since this is pressing against the heater, since this is getting light from above. And you also got to be a little bit careful not to overheat. But honestly, in the beginning, first months, when you're just trying to induce germination, they will take a little heat here and there. Okay. Here's a seedling that I transplanted that had fungus gnat bite marks at the tip, so it terminated. And for now, I could get it under control. I transplanted in sowing soil, put it in a bag to just hydrate again, because the fungus gnats and having transplanting it, like the need to transplant it had led to dehydration. And for now, it's good. The wound looks like it has healed. And that, I didn't think that would happen, honestly. Like when you see fungus gnats attacking a seedling, you can't leave them in the bag. So I took it out to let that bite mark heal. And then after maybe 2 weeks, I put it back in. And now it's looking okay. Maybe we can save it. It would be the only seedling from that cross that made it. The fungus gnats really had a fun time in that one. Okay, next one. This is still the old soil. Cemetery soil. Very black. Very resistant to weed. To all kinds of weeds that can overgrow it. Resistant to grass. Resistant to moss a little bit. But everything in limits, okay? Because we have had moss on it. And it had to be removed. Apart from that, not seeing seedlings. What's that? This is a cross between a columnar and a multi-hybrid father. I would say it's a risky cross. Not seeing seedlings is sad, but I'm not surprised. This could have been one of the those fruits that had only a few seeds in them. And when that happens, like when you have a fruit and it has a few seeds in it, but not really looking good, then this can happen. So in this case, I feel like it makes sense because I remember the size of the fruit, and the fruit was already having maybe 10 seeds in it, 10, 15, 20 seeds. And when that happens, it's generally not a sign of great genetic health. This here, pooling water, bad. I hate that. But still not seeing any seedlings. The overwatering here was made out of desperation. And I recommend not doing it. This is also 10-year-old seed. I just tried to maybe soak it a little. But at some point, nothing's bringing it back. There's a limit for everything. And it's a shame, but sometimes you can't save them all. You can't grow them all. And I'm really annoyed by that kind of sip thing here. Closing thing. Okay. So now I brought the takeaway containers. We have sown out in takeaway containers and in these square pots. Now let's have a look at the takeaway containers. They also are coming from the heater. Humidity should be right in most of them, so I don't really want to do a lot here. I just hope we have everything right now. In this one, soil looks good. Humidity, you see condensation all around. That should already be enough to facilitate germination. However, since I put this thing on the heater, a little bit closer to it, I put in a little extra water, but just a little. I don't want water pooling. And with these here, this is even more unforgiving in regards to overwatering than these, where you just have the water in the bag down there. In this case, you have the water really flooding everything, flooding the seedlings, like lifting the seedlings in water. Yeah, this is okay. A little bit more than the other. Okay. I don't like this thing. I've criticized that in every stream, and I will not get tired of it. This just, when you can do that, it's just not really perfect for growing seedlings in it. When you have these huge gaps all around here, because seedlings often move a little. Sometimes the seeds germinate in these cracks, and it can lead to a lot of problems with fungal infections that are in this thing. Then you might not see it, but when you have a seedling that is in one of these crevices, okay, this also good. Okay, next one. This is also okay. You see that there's plenty of water in that soil. That should be enough. It's actually a little too much. Like the way you can see the soil losing stability, that is the main concern. The more water you add, the less solid everything is, and the tiny seedlings and seeds, when that stuff starts, like in the first days, they can't be disturbed too much from water. Even drip water has proven to be a problem. Here we have life. This is nice. First stage just germinated maybe a few days ago. I had that at the heater still today. Just removed it from the heater, and now I think we can move it under the lamp. I always wait a little because I don't want to take it away from the heater too early, because the moment you take it away from the heat, you might stop the germination. Some seeds need a little bit longer. You always get the healthy seedlings in the beginning, and then you might get a few more in it, like delayed over weeks. So you have to make a decision when to remove it from the heater, because at this age the seedlings are already very sensitive to overheating. Just leaving them at the same spot where the germination has caused them to be alive now, has brought them to life, at the same spot might be too hot for them later, like a week later. So now I will take them away from the heater. They will go to the lamp now. These are big enough, maybe 4 or 5 seedlings, maybe a little more, the way I looked at it on the first gut instinct, and that is enough for me. So this looks horrible. This is a disaster. Check it out. This is fungus gnat. It must be. If it's not fungus gnat, this is damping off. This is what they are always saying when they say damping off. It's a orange kind of rot fungal infection that starts at the roots, and very often fungus gnats, the name says it all, they play a part often. But in this case, I haven't seen them in the soil. Let's have a closer look. Maybe we can see something. If a fungus gnat larvae is alive, you can often see it. It is reflective a little bit. It stands out like a jogger with one of these reflective suits. But I'm not seeing them. I honestly don't see them here. In my opinion, this could be just unhealthy genetic situation, or maybe not well cleaned, not cleaned well enough. This is subdenudata, Echinopsis subdenudata hybrid cross, and yeah, they don't look good. They don't. That one seedling that is lying there, that is beyond saving already. Not because it's lying there, but because I have seen the root. Once you have orange discoloration at the root, I'm not sure. This is probably too small to see it on the camera. But there is some sort of orange glow already at the base. There is also, you can see that the seedling is basically broken at the base. So it's leaning over there, and it doesn't have a chance. I try to remove the healthy one that is besides it. This will go into the trash here. And I try to reposition that healthy seedling and far away from that kind of outbreak there. Maybe we can get 1 or 2 seedlings in that container to make it, but this is already bad. You can also transplant them. The other one here, this one is also bad. I just feel like they're a little too small to even transplant them with a bigger likelihood for survival than just leaving them in, because not all seedlings are affected sometimes with fungal infections. If we can transplant them in 2 weeks, that would, if you know, it would buy us 2 weeks. I cleaned this up now. There are now 3 seedlings in there, and they are very small. If we can get one of them to size where they make it, that would be great. I would spray now. This is just water, but a little water always disrupts fungal germination. When you have the beginning of fungal spore germination, that often happens when you have some sort of organic material in there that can, like for wood-loving mushrooms, you can have spore germination on the piece of wood, or you can have remnants on the seeds from the pulp. There's a lot of sugar in a cactus fruit, and that kind of stuff can be the cause of that. So spraying everything to a point where that fungal germination can't really develop healthily, that can already completely disturb a fungal infection in a pot. If you have a fungal infection that is localized on 1 or 2 seedlings, taking them out might buy you time, might buy you enough time to transplant them when they are a little bit bigger. I wouldn't want to transplant these at this age. I mean, you could do it, sure, and some of them would live, but maybe there's a easier, better way. So this will get another week. Next time we will look into this and they look bad, then maybe we can discuss about transplanting. For now, I'm not seeing it. Okay. Nice. So in this case, we have a lot of seedlings, a lot of healthy seedlings. This looks good. One thing that really stands out to me is that they are already disadvantaged because they are so deep in the container, in the takeaway container, and you can only use that takeaway container like you have a lid there, and that lid is fixed, and so you can't put in too much soil. Otherwise, you would have the seedlings pressing against the lid right away, or you would have to sow out in a bag. You would be able to use that, but in a bag. But why would you do it like this if you can then you could then just sow out in the square pot right away? So they are a little bit too deep in the pot, but you need to put them this deep in order to use that tech. Otherwise, you always have trouble with the lid. you need that distance between the lid and the seedling. Also because the drip water, constant drip water will disturb the seedling in a very bad way. So yeah, generally I really recommend having a close look at these kind of takeaway containers, comparing them to the stuff that's widely used and why it is widely used, and then make a decision if it's really worth it to sow out in them. Today, I did that in the beginning. I started off sowing out with these kind of containers, and maybe sometimes bigger ones, round, some square, and that is how I began sowing out cactus seeds. And over the years, I just realized that this means you always have to transplant them again very early on. And that's why I, at some point, started sowing out in square pots. And I have those surrounded by a bag that I can always remove. And then you can sow out the seedlings. You can fill the whole pot, have them way up where they get more light. In my opinion, that is a better method. But you can do it like this, and we will do it like this. So for now, let's have a look at the general health, because there are some of the seedlings, like smaller ones, that don't look healthy. Smaller ones that could be the beginning of a fungal infection. I really think we might have to take out one or two. When you see seedlings that are basically, they germinate, but they turn orange right away, that is usually a sign that genetic problems might apply there, might be the case. So I usually take that out because that will always keep those spores around. Like this one is tiny, but orange. They don't have a lot of organic mass, organic material that can spread infection. But if you have 10 of those tiny things around, that can also destroy the soil, can turn the soil into a rotten nightmare where constantly fungal infections keep coming back because there's so many spores in that thing. You won't get rid of them. Now what's left are the seedlings that most likely will make it. They need to be in the container. They are still too small. This is like seedling age, maybe 10 days at the most. Very young seedlings. They have just come from the heater. And this is also the point when I move them away from the heater. I don't want to have this at a heat source anymore. Because also, like these tiny seedlings that expired, that might also be a sign that it's getting dangerous for the other one at some point too. Maybe not now, but there's only so much time you can leave them at the heater before the actually living seedlings start showing signs of overheating. Okay, this is okay. This is just filling up water, trying to induce germination. Haven't seen any seedlings in this one. What is it? Show me your face. Gräsers Erfolg, Selbstbestäubung, Cantora, and Pink Stripes. That's a nice cross. Come on, man. Don't fail me. This is one of the hybrid crosses where I was really happy to see it. I really want seedlings from that. Would be a shame. This one, first signs of life. Few seedlings here and there, but just coming up. This is just a matter of 1 or 2 days where they have germinated. Apart from that, I can see 3 seedlings. And they are so tiny, so fragile. I can't move these at the heater again, I think. It's just sometimes you see a seedling and you feel that they don't have a lot of tolerance against that kind of a treatment. This is from Arboricola Zelli, crossed with Pink Stripes. Could also be a great cross. I would love to combine these three classics, like, you know, I mean, Zelly hybrid, Arboricola hybrid, you know, good combination. And then pink stripes. If it can push out flowers the likes of pink stripes, that would be great. So I will move it to the lamp probably. Just 3 seedlings here, but I feel like if I put these in under the lamp, more could come up just from the light. Again, in nature, UV light always brings out life a little bit. Sometimes the old seeds, they are lying in the sun for a year. It's raining on them, you have winter, you have all these conditions that are changing, and that kind of can bring back seeds, can activate seeds that would not have come up otherwise. In this case, nothing. The dots in the soil that are visible is just pumice or something that was added in tiny amounts, like perlite, something like that. I think it could be perlite. Nothing else. These will go to the heater again. There are fewer and fewer where there's no life in, like completely no life. And the ones that, most of the ones that don't have seedlings, when we discuss them, it makes sense. Just looking at the label, what's this? Amon-Re, winter fruit. Means it was a fruit on Amon-Re that grew between late season, maybe August. You have a fruit in August, and it takes a good 2 months. And sometimes in winter they stop developing healthily, and I could definitely see seeds becoming unviable under such conditions also. I don't like winter fruit. I don't like a fruit that ripens over the cold months, because that can always infect the whole plant. 2 seedlings. This is Fast 12, and I'm okay with that. Honestly, I wish I had wished that I have more seedlings from this hybrid. But looking at the two are healthy, and I just see a lot of risk putting this here back to the heater. The seedlings, I always look at how healthy they are, how they look like, you know, and this is the type of seedling that doesn't have a lot of room for heat damage. So these will also go to the lamp, getting light, maybe, I don't know, 14 hours a day. The hours, like how much light cactus seedlings get, let's talk about that for a while. Cactus seedlings, you could theoretically have them under 24 hours light. Cacti are not comparable to some of the other plants that need a fixed light schedule to flower. And with flowering, flowering is the one thing where I believe that it might really confuse, it might still mess with their inner timeline, inner cycle and all that. But apart from that, you could grow plants like cactus seedlings 24/7 under grow light. I'm not doing it. For one, it's expensive. I don't want to spend that much for electricity, and also at some point they would even dehydrate more. I would have to water them even more. So here, and it works without, you know, it works with a fair amount of light, and you can already see some of them reddening, this reddish discoloration, usually indicator for stress, sun stress, drought, and yeah, so I wouldn't want to give them more light even. This one here, 1 week seedling, and that seedling is crooked because it is like there's so much soil in the container that there isn't enough space for the seedling. So every time you put up the lid, the water drop that comes down, that is basically directly above the seedling, and that greatly disturbs that seedling. That seedling looks like it's really bothered. This might not work. I'm really looking forward to being able opening this up, but it's too small. The seedling is still a little small, And also, we only have one seedling. There's another one besides it, but I'm not counting it. It doesn't look like it's healthy, like it will live. So this needs to be in there for a little longer, maybe 7 to 10 days. And then I try to take it out. And this shows the problem of the takeaway container tag. You can either decide to only fill that thing half and to have that space, or you have to take off the lid right away, and you have that disturbance from the water that's dripping. With this, the water is different. The water runs down here and here. Makes a big difference as far as I can tell right now, just from looking at everything, comparing. But you can grow in them. Don't get this the wrong way. You can grow in everything that you can close up like this, and that allows a little bit light to come through. That doesn't contain chemicals that makes life impossible. But apart from that, you can grow in them. I did that for many years. I wasn't doing it very well, but I was doing it, So apart from that, this one here, no seedlings. Humidity is all right. It will go back to the heater. And we're having fewer and fewer that are going like that stay at the heater. Here's another one. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seedlings. And they don't look bad. They look like when I move them to the heater now, they will go bad. And they're too small to take them out. So I close this up and it goes to the plant lamp. The moment I see 5, 6 seedlings, that is instantly for me enough. No need to be greedy. And if the seeds are viable, they might come slowly over time anyway. Okay, so here's something where I transplanted. I transplanted these because they were doing poorly in the other. I think it was wash pumice. Now they're looking good again. This isn't perfect, but a lot of the seedlings that had to be transplanted, there was a good reason that they were transplanted, and I like these a lot more than before. Okay, almost done. Coming close. My mother already messaged me to ask if I'm all right. I'm not sure. I'm always doing the stream around this time, but you know how parents are. They sometimes they just worry about you. But yeah, this looks good. This looks really good. I like seeing so many healthy seedlings, because this tells you that the parents that you chose, they fit together very well. This is columnar cactus. Columnar and a multi-hybrid flower hybrid father. That is good. I will close this up. This will go straight to the plant lamp. Nowhere else. When you have so many seedlings, you just have to take that thing away from the heat, because the heat can only add unnecessary risk. At that point, it's not worth it. Okay, so these will go to the heater again. Here's one seedling or two. Yeah, this needs to go to the lamp. Okay, so let's have a look. In this one, I have 2 in square pots that I just found. Apart from that, we're almost done. If you have any questions, now's the time. If not, we will go through them, and then I will call my mother to let her know I'm all right. Yeah, here are tiny seedlings now, finally coming up. I'm not sure why they are in that corner again. They are not supposed to be in the corner. Don't put baby in the corner. So I will spray them carefully. These are very small. Gotta be careful like that. There aren't more seedlings there. Sometimes when you have, like when the seeds have somehow they are washed away to the side, and then you have germinations at spots where it's not good, where you rather not have them. So I got to keep an eye on that, but at least we have seedlings. This is from Hilde Winterer, by the way. And that is, you know, when you have like 10 Hilde Winterer fruit, 10 fruits of Hilde Winterer, there will always be 3 or 4 that have poor germination. And seeing this from Hilde Winterer is pretty good. I'm happy with that. So this will go away from the heater. And here's one where there's nothing. It almost looks like I forgot to put the seeds in. And this is Bamboy. And I have another container that is full of 4 or 5 healthy seedlings from the same cross. I'm not sure how, but it happens. Sometimes you miss that window of time to get them up in the beginning in order to then get them ready to have a second try. You dry it out, and then we're at that point and it still doesn't come up. Maybe the seeds have just lost their mojo, lost their viability. Okay, so this will also go to the heater again, not seeing a really big chance for that to do well, to do really well at some point again. Like that you suddenly have a lot of seedlings, but 1 seedling would already be enough. That is something that I always had problems with. Like when I wasn't seeing a whole container full of healthy seedlings, I was already disappointed. And I was kind of, losing touch with those seedlings. I was feeling like, yeah, they might already be so weak. And since then, I really noticed that pattern on me. And that's why I started to fight for every seedling. Sometimes you only need that one. Okay. Yeah, this was a good stream. Again, happy to take any questions. If not, hey, great to have you. Thank you for joining. Greetings. Yeah, my mother just sent me a message, like a short message, asking if I'm all right. I always do the stream at roughly the same time, but you know how parents are. So yeah, I will call her now to let her know I'm all right. But I really enjoyed today's stream. Had a lot of fun again. Always happy to go through. And again, this is just what we do in winter. In a few months, like the new cactus season starts March 15th. And I will be out on March 15th, starting to water. So we will start streaming from outside then too. Like when the first flowers are coming, maybe in May, or maybe already in April, then I would stream flowers. So it will be great. Looking forward to that. And what we're doing now is a great thing. Every now and then the stream hits a lot of outside viewers, but they love it too. I mean, everyone who just finds it, you hear so much positive stuff about the stream. When it's people that aren't even from the hobby. And that is great. That is what really what is fun for me. To see that we can also sometimes, not always, but sometimes when they show that stream somewhere in the shorts feed, whatever, we can make a little advertising for the hobby. So that I enjoyed that. So thank you guys. I appreciated it. Thank you for always being here with me. Also the people who are always here first and all that, I appreciate that quite a lot. So thank you. I'll be back tomorrow. And now I'm going to call my mom. Okay. Thank you guys. Have a nice day. Hope you are having a great weekend. I'm looking forward to taking a little time with Kami today. And yeah, looking forward to that. Okay. Thank you guys. I'll be back tomorrow. If you have questions, just write them in the comments and I'll get back. Take care.